And we're back. One of my favourite shows of all time, Yellowjackets. The Campbellistic concoction of Campbellistic chicanery. I'm going to stop the alliteration. It's a great show. Came out of nowhere. Basically about starring Christine Ritchie, Juliette Lewis, Melanie Linsky, other actors I can't remember off the top of my head, but just so Thatcher's and really great cast. Really surprising premise where it dealt with the soccer team who were crashed on an island or somewhere. I don't know actually where it is. I don't think they know. And then shit went bad and eventually they became cannibals. And it was kind of like Lost, but on an acid trip level. And I remember season 1, season 2 I loved. Really enjoyed. And then because of fucking writer's strike and pandemic and shit, it was delayed for ages and now season 3 is here. Yay! Been waiting years for this. And I watched the first episode. Haven't watched the second episode yet, but we'll watch it later of this view. Watched the first episode and I was like, it started okay. It was just okay to start with. It's basically dealing with the aftermath of season 2, and if you've seen season 1, season 2, it gets so insane that I think they were probably like glad that they could do a tiny bit of a reset. Obviously, they're not retconning stuff out. The coach is still after them. They burnt down their shack. But the opening scenes definitely feel like, I don't know if you like me, I think the opening bit almost seemed like a dream sequence or a flashback to when they were like going on a soccer expedition or something like that. It felt come distant from what's actually happening, where at the end of season 2, they're in a really fucking bad place and they are literally cannibals at that point. And then season 3 is like, hey, we found some food and things like that. But I think that's kind of intentional because I think they really are trying to go for the vibe of there is something supernatural to this now, because they should all, like, there is no way that there'd be easily accessible food. They say, oh, it's spring, so things are better, but they look clean. They look like they're in better shape than they were at the end of last season. And somehow the coach is also still alive. I mean, I think they said it's been a week or something like that. Or maybe it's a bit longer, I can't remember. But it just feels weird. And it feels at times like it's a bit detached from where they were. But at the same time, as the episode goes on, you realise things aren't really that much better for them. The coach is laying traps for them, and he's clearly gone insane. But he also finds a bunker full of equipment and supplies, which is like, are we going to go full military expedition? Like the military's in the area? I mean, maybe. I would say the show has lost something with Juliette Lewis not being in anymore. I know Sophie Thatcher's fantastic. She's great in past sections, but Nat lives such driving force in present that losing her, and Lottie's obviously not in it. She's gone to a insane asylum. So they're out. Misty's obviously still being Misty as ever. Elijah Wood's still there, thank God. Although we don't really find out in first episode who he is or what's going on with him, which is weird because that was kind of something we were intrigued by in season 2. It definitely feels like a soft reset. I mean, it's embracing continuity, but the vibe of the show has changed slightly because it got really dark and weird in season 2. I think the writer's strike meant they went back to the chalkboard and thought, did we go too weird with it? I mean, I know it's a bit of a backlash for season 2, but I really enjoyed it. Anyway, back to what happens in this episode. So Tyser and Van in present day. Tyser obviously is like, I want to see my kid, and her partner's like, no. And Van is still dying of cancer, but they go to a restaurant and they dash out because they don't want to pay. They want to be rebels. And then the waiter chases them, which is kind of weird because, like, you know, you have more customers in that place. And he just sat down and had one bit of food. Like, come on. Anyway, he chases them. He has a heart attack and he may or may not die. And Tyser's seeing Natalie everywhere, and so is Misty, younger Natalie, because I guess Juliette Lewis was like, I'm not coming back for one episode, you know, yeah. Misty kind of has a breakdown too, where she's getting really angry in bar and threatens to set some people on fire, which is the most Natalie Juliette Lewis thing I can think of. And then she passes out and Walt picks her up and he's sort of like, oh, he's still manipulating her clearly. Shauna's daughter, is tormented by her the popular kids at school, and so she throws animal guts on their food, and her and Shauna watch it and they have a good laugh. Well, Jeff tries, basically sums up how weird the show's getting, and it's sort of like, no, this is normal. And so like, it's not Jeff, but also like, shut up and know your place, because you're lucky to be on the show. You're not a very good character. And yeah, I mean, so, and in past, Sean and Maury get into an argument. I can't even remember who Maury is. And then Maury goes into woods and falls into a trap, and the coach left, and he laughs. And it's all like, oh shit, what's he going to do? Is he going to eat her? Because, he's had protein bars. He's probably got a bit of a high on natural sugars or whatever. So yeah, that's the first episode. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't as good as like season 2 for me. So I'd probably go for a 3. A little disappointing. I think seeing like Dexter New Origin, New Blood, whatever it's called, original thing, is like, that's obviously taking an insane part of TV. And then Severance has taken a good part of TV, and this is a bit like, it's good, and at the end it gets very, very good with like, oh, where they're going to go from there. And I did like having a drug freak out and being like, oh, you'll hear the weird sounds soon, and then they all hear weird sounds, and it's clearly something's going on. My bet is there's a military expedition and it's like weird properties. You don't want them to explain it too much, but at the same time, it's like, look, can you just like commit to the bet? So, but yeah, I did enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to episode 2 because I feel like they've done the rebuilding of it. So now hopefully episode 2 will just be rapid pace and lots of weird shit from there. But anyway, I'll be covering that in just a second. In more words of Krusty Clown on The Simpsons, what the fuck was that? Yes, I've just watched episode 2 of Yellowjackets season 3. And yes, Krusty never actually said that, because I'm pretty sure if he said that in that exact tone voice with those exact words and that exact utterance, The Simpsons probably would have been taken off the air. But that's neither here nor there. This show is weird this year. And by weird, I mean I don't know what's going on. I don't understand. I was hoping this episode raced through and really kickstart everything. But it didn't. Yes, it set things up for the future. But I just don't... in 2 episodes in is kind of a rough thing to say in terms of criticising, like, where's this going? But I don't think it's that unfair at all, actually, because season 1 and 2, for my money, did a really good job of making it feel like the show is working towards something. And maybe it's the writer's strike, I don't know, but this definitely feels like a reset in the strongest possible terms of they were clearly going somewhere, and this season they're like, whoa, Nelly, let's pull back the reins, let's drag this out a bit more, because this doesn't... Okay, so season 1 2, what I really, really like about season 1 2 is it all felt like things were building to them all being together and that confrontation, and it felt like, oh man, this is big stuff. Like Juliette Lewis, her cat died. She's not coming back on the show. Yes, Sophie Thatcher's playing her in past, but she's not there now. She's gone completely. And it's like, oh, shit, where are you going to go now? Because Callie's... Shauna's daughter, Callie, even sums up in this episode of like, we're all kind of dodgy characters at this point. And it's like, yes, you are. But no one seems to care. I think that's part of the problem when you have a character like Jeff, who's, yes, he's a wishy-washy, not particularly fun to sit around and watch on TV, but he was meant to be the straight-laced normal character. And come think of it, like, he just saw Walter drug a cop, and no one seems to give a shit. They don't seem to be acting like human beings anymore. Like, there's no outrage, just this, yeah, we're this now. And it's like, okay, but where's this going? Where? And yes, the end of the episode does point at a potentially intriguing new avenue that they can go down plot-wise, but I don't know, I think my issue is that I just do not believe that they found fresh food and animals. because I think the fundamental flaw is I think this show still doesn't want to commit to there being something supernatural going on, but it's all like that's pretty out there that they managed to find this stuff and that Coach is still alive after 6 weeks. And then, like, he lays the trap and Mary falls in it, and the episode ends with last episode ends with him saying, "Hello, Bambi." And this week he's like, no, I don't want to hurt you. You got to come to me. And it's like, why is he beating trap? See, there's a disconnect between, like, here, I caught you, and, you need to put your leg back in place. It's all like, he beat the trap to trap them, but then he's, like, doesn't seem like he was expecting her to be in trap. It's like, okay. I think the show doesn't really know what it is at the moment. And maybe it's getting somewhere. Maybe they've done a loss and they're like, no, where we actually have a plan now, like long term. But I think this show definitely, first 2 episodes, is coasting on an excellent cast more than anything, because it just feels like there's a disconnect somewhere and it's not quite what it should be. And I know lots of people didn't enjoy season 2 because they felt it got too weird and too abstract. But I'm like, Travis taking drugs and communicating with the woods, it's pretty fucking weird and abstract, but it's also kind of like, commit. Is there something supernatural or is there not? I don't like this game of we're not sure what's happening and we're not going to commit to it. It's like, no, commit. Is this supernatural or not? Because the whole animals and spring thing is so supernatural, but then he's taking drugs to commune with the forest, and then, like, there's stuff in modern day. And the other side is, I don't think any of these characters are likable. And that's another problem. It's like, they're just not likable people. They're horrible people. And that can be fine. But it doesn't seem like the show wants us to think they're horrible people. It's like, it wants us to relate to them. But they're awful people. They're just awful. I don't know. I'm going to watch it because, like, but I just hope it commits to either. If it wants to be a goofy, oh, gee, where's Ma? Like, show, fine, go for that. If it wants to be a creepy, abstract show, fine, go for that. Don't keep jumping between them. And give us a purpose we're going towards, because right now, I don't know where this is going. And I don't feel like they know where this is going. And that's a bad sign, because I fucking love season 1 and 2. But this, I ain't feeling this. So hopefully it picks up next week or next episode or whatever.